All right, Brittany's with us in Birmingham. Hey, Brittany, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, how are you?
Great. How can we help?
Yeah, so my question is kind of more of a moral thing than a money thing. So my husband is 25 and I'm 23. We've been married for just over a year, and we've recently kind of decided that we want to start seeing where every penny of our money goes. And both of our parents love you. We've grown up, going to your classes and reading your books, so we know everything. And my mother-in-law decided that she wanted to offer us some advice, so we started to take some of her advice. And then one day she came to us and said, I just want to go ahead and make your budget for you. And I immediately laughed this off, and I thought, this is crazy. Like, I would not do that. I think she's joking. But my husband thought that it was a really good idea, and I
Oh,
begged
that's
and
so
pleaded with him.
sweet.
And I begged and pleaded with him to not let her do this. And so I finally got him to agree for us to work on our budget together alone. And I thought it would be for our eyes only. But in the middle of us writing down our paychecks, like our bills and things like that, he called his mom and asked her to come over. And she came over to our house and looked at everything.
Do you hear the helicopter blades?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she came over and she looked at everything. And while she was on the way after he hung up, I begged and pleaded with him to not let her come over. I cried. I was like, please don't do this. I wanted to do this together. And he told me that I was acting like a child and that it was ridiculous for me to be acting this way. And it was perfectly okay for his mom to look at our budget.
Who's the child?
And
I'm like, oh my God.
Who's the child here? He's the mommy's boy.
Jeez.
Exactly. And I said this, and I told my parents, and my parents were furious. They were like, what is he thinking? And basically, she came over and looked at everything, and he even let her take it home with her and do it herself.
Okay, so
by
Brittany,
herself.
you're 100% right. You're not crazy. You need to stop this from happening. This is a boundary violation. Helicopter mommy and mommy's boy need to learn the idea that the Bible says leave and cleave. You leave your parents and you cleave to your spouse.
And that includes you too, Brittany, instead of calling your parents.
Yeah, don't
and-
call your mommy and daddy.
Yeah, y'all need to, yeah.
A marriage counselor and duct tape. So where do we stand today?
So she took the budget home with her, and basically a few days later, we both got a text message in a group chat with her. She had written everything out that we make and said, this is what you save from this paycheck and blah, blah, blah. And I texted her very nicely and said, we will decide what we do with our money. And she didn't like that. My husband didn't like that. He thought that I was being rude to her. I have suggested marriage counseling. I have suggested going to counseling, and he does not believe in that. He doesn't think that stuff works. He refuses to go. So that's not really an option. I am just calling to get some advice to see if I'm crazy for thinking that this is completely wrong. And my parents also agree with me. They think that it's absolutely insane. And so I'm just calling for advice to see what you have to say.
So when it comes to relationships, Brittany, and money, what we always find is usually it has to do with there's the problems and the issues going on within the relationship. It's not about the budget. It's about that your husband didn't listen to you. Your husband didn't respect your opinion, shooed you off like you were a child, and kept bulldozing his way through, right? That to me, yes, your mother-in-law doing the budget, all of that, that's an issue. But for me, as if I were you sitting in your position, that's the issue that makes me.
My feelings are hurt,
Sure. Well, yeah, you weren't listened to. So,
but let's make sure that what Rachel's saying, you're getting this. Your feelings don't need to be hurt at your mother-in-law. They need to be hurt at your husband.
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly.
He's the problem. She's the symptom.
That's right.
Yeah.
So Brittany, if I were you guys, you've been married right at a year, less than a year.
Yes, just over a year.
Yeah. I would find people in his life that you guys have a really great relationship with. And I don't know if that's friends. It doesn't need to be family. I I don't know if that's friends. I don't know if there's like a mentor or someone that he really looks up to, but you need someone else speaking into this versus us sitting here in Nashville. You know, we can give you our advice, but really to have people walk with you, because he needs to get to a point of humility, to be able to say that therapy's not wrong. And I know some people have like this weird thing about it, but to go to marriage counseling, but to hear other people speak into his life, because I'm scared that it's like he's so tunnel visioned into what he wants to do, including bringing his mom into these situations, that you're not being heard within your marriage. And I want to make sure you're communicating it well too, right? That you're not,
Yeah, I don't think you need to text her about this again. I think you need to bust him.
Yes, and I've tried to have that conversation.
No. You just blew it off. There is no excuse for you to go after her again. She's not the problem. She's the symptom. I want you to direct all of your force into your marriage relationship. Because that's where all of this is.
I have, and all I'm met with is, you're acting like a child, you're being ridiculous, you're being rude.
Yeah, I heard you say that. But my point is that doesn't then you turn left and go text her, which kind of verified what he was saying. And so instead of going at him, because this guy's relationship with his mom is about 3 notches too far over the edge. Okay? Period. Period. Anybody listening is going, this is a problem. He's got a mama's boy syndrome. And everybody listening is going, yeah, that's kind of obvious, everybody but him and his mom. And so the good news is this young boy has a chance to grow up and be a man now and be a husband. And he's got an opportunity to step into manhood. And the part of that is loving and respecting your mother as an adult at a bit of a distance.
That's right.
And with reasonable boundaries. And
listening to your wife.
Hello.
And at least,
yeah.
I don't know. That's my problem in this whole conversation.
And you need to quit running to your mom and dad. Y'all are both acting like your children. Okay? The two of you need to take this inside your house, inside your 4 walls, and jump on the fact that your relationship is busted, and his respect for you, your all's ability to communicate, your all's ability to problem solve without bringing in outside forces called in-laws is limited. And you need some new tools to work on that. So, yeah. Do you guys attend a good church by chance?
We don't at the moment. I work on Sundays, and he's on call, he's a lineman.
So you don't have a good pastor's connection that you could use to just sit down with a pastor?
Not at the moment.
Okay, that's fair. All right, then you do just need to get a hold of a good marriage counselor, or call a good local pastor there in Birmingham and just see if they'll meet with you. But, no, you are not being childish. No, you're not being unreasonable to not want her in there. Possibly some of your reactions to the whole situation once you lost it were childish. I don't know about that. But, this is a relationship question. It is not a budget question. This is a boundary violation. If Sharon Ramsey inserted herself into Rachel and Winston's
or Daniel, it'd be her son.
That'd be the same thing. Yeah, into Daniel's situation, Daniel would not allow that. Allison would not allow that, and I would not allow her to do that. There'd be a lot of not allowing here. It's called boundaries. And,
yes, but for let's go on.
I'm the guy that teaches America how to do a budget, by the way, and I haven't ever done a budget for any of my grown married children once.
I remember coming up to the house. Winston and I were probably married about 2 years, and there was a money thing. I can't remember what it was. It was like we had some money, and it was like, should we invest it here? Should we put it in it was a pretty basic question. And you wouldn't answer it. You're like, well, what do you guys think? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? I'm like, I don't know what to think. That's why I'm asking you.
Should have called into the show, Rachel.
I should have called into the show. I would have gotten the answer. I know. But for real though, there's a balance in overbearing, but then young couples listening to have wisdom speak into your life.
Yeah, she apparently is good at doing a budget. It would have been nice to have her input if it wasn't controlling.
Exactly.
But you can't ask this woman for anything because she doesn't know when to stop.
I know.
She's like that bulldog I had. It never knew when to stop eating, so it'd get fat.
Okay,
had to just cut the food off.
I'm thinking about all the young couples though listening, and they've been married for a year and a half, and they don't know. Maybe they have questions about their money, and maybe their parents are really great at money. What is the appropriate?
I think you can ask for help with that and ask for input on anything
If
from your
both
parents.
are good.
If you're both good with that, number one. But number two, if the person you're asking has reasonable boundaries and is not going to artificially insert themselves over the line into the situation. Okay? Now, one of the reasons you got the answer you and Winston got was you're asking me, but also you're asking me in the sense that you need to understand your husband has married into this family at that time. This is what's going through my head when you're asking me this question, that is bigger than life, that takes up all the air in the room, and that everywhere we go it's all about Dave, and it'd be nice for something to be about Winston. And so I'm like, no, I'm not getting in this. If it had been a normal situation, I would have answered the question as your dad. But because we're not normal, we're weird. I got to give Winston some space, and that's why I push back on y'all. I'm like, y'all go figure it out. You kind of know the answer, and he already knew the answer probably. But I didn't want him thinking that he was in my shadow. He's the son-in-law,
Right.
and because I got a big old shadow, and so I got to be careful with that.